Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. John Fury and Headbutt Gate. um, yesterday I made a couple of videos. I was just making fun of Fury and John Fury, that is, and I treated it like for what it was. Well, I treated him for what he was, which is a joke. All right, but some people, they sort of took umbrage with this and they said, "Well, you can't. It's an assault. You shouldn't really be making fun of this. It's a disgrace." And okay, I get your point. Yeah, it was an assault. He assaulted this young kid. I say young, actually. This Stanislav, who John Fury headbutted, was actually 30. He doesn't look a day over 20. But he is a scrawny-looking guy. He doesn't look very tall. I'm guessing he's probably about 5'9", and John probably outweighs him by about 150 pounds. And, anyway, yeah, it is an assault, and it's not. It shouldn't be just dismissed as being a bit of a joke. I think I'm sort of glib about it because I don't really expect anything more from John Fury than what we saw yesterday. I've long thought of him, and to some extent, other members of his family, including his heavyweight champion son, as being just, well, certainly not to be trusted, but just not really very nice people. Not the sort of people I'd want to hang around with anyway. And I kind of expect this of John. Now, you might say, well, you can't, the sins of the father and all this sort of thing. You can't say that you can't blame this on Tyson. Well, no, that's fair enough. Again, I can't dismiss that argument entirely. But Tyson Fury was interviewed today, and he said, well, chat shit, get banged. He just dismissed the whole thing as being, well, that's, my dad. And he mentioned something about this other guy being 30 years younger than his dad. And so, all right, age comes into it, yeah, but not when you outweigh the guy by about, 10 stone or whatever it was. No, I don't wear that at all. I mean, if it's an even fight, well, okay. Another way of looking at it is to flip that comment on its head and say, well, John Fury's nearly 60. Why is a 60-year-old man behaving like that? Why is he making a fool of himself? Now, a lot of people have used the word bully. I know G-Man did a pretty good video on this, a good video. I always like G-Man stuff, and I think Hatman might have said something similar. A few people have made videos or referenced the word bully in this. And yeah, again, I don't disagree with that. I think John Fury's always come across like that. We all know about the Mickey Theo thing and the Joe Egan, I think, I offered him out, and John don't want to know, he was huffing and puffing and getting his shirt off with those YouTubers a while back and punching the Perspex glass. I think Proper Boxing said, oh God, who's put 50p in John Fury? He was whacking the Perspex. It's all just a load of piss and wind until someone serious steps up to you. Even Carl Froch, who is, smaller than Fury, certainly shorter and smaller in terms of natural weight. Now, I know he is still a lot younger than John. He's probably about, what's Frotchy now? He's about, early 40s, 40, 42, something like that. But of course, Froch would smash the fuck out of John Fury, unless it was on the street and John got hold of him and poked his eye out, of course, gouged his eye out. But whenever there's anyone with any sort of substance to them, John don't want to know. And just out of intrigue, I went to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, one of the most reputable dictionaries. It's either that or the Oxford English Dictionary. And I looked up the word bully, and they say a blustering, browbeating person is how they describe it. One who is habitually cruel, insulting, or threatening to others who are weaker, smaller, or in some way vulnerable. Yeah. Is John Fury a bully? I will leave that definition there, and you can decide. But if you're a fighting man, a proper fighting man, and I don't pretend to be one, by the way, but if you are one, you don't go picking on, I say kids. I mean, the guy is 30, but John Fury didn't know him, and this bloke looks like he's about 20, honestly. And it's weird because when this Stanislav fella, when they interviewed him, he said, well, I was worried about John Fury. And the interviewer said, what do you mean you were worried about him? What, you worried what he would do? He said, no, I was worried because he was cut. I was thinking, oh, well, he's cut himself. Oh, John. John, you're a bit of a farce, mate. If only you could wind back the last 5 years or whatever and not come across as being such a tit. It's, and by the way, I know I shouldn't think in these terms because, again, we're back to the subject of age, but he's only a little bit older than me. He's only like maybe a year and a half, 2 years older than me. I'm embarrassed when I see someone of that age behaving like that. I mean, this is just a little bit of personal testimony. Where I work, I won't say where I work because that'll give the game away, but I've just come back from, where did I come back from? I think it was Latvia. And on my first day back at work, I had because I work with adults who are quote unquote vulnerable or people who have issues. Now, this guy's not even one of my clients, but he hangs around this shitty neighbourhood where I work, and it really is a fucking carsy, it really is. And he came up to me, he offered me, I don't know what, I've never had a conversation with the guy, but he's weeded off his head, he smoked too much weed since he was 12 or whatever. And he's in his early 40s, probably 40, 42, 43 maybe at the most. And he offers me out in front of it. I was in a cafe in front of opposite from where I work, and he offered me out, and I said, "Oh, I suppose so." So I went outside, and this guy is like 5'8", 7 maybe, something like that. And we got head to head, and I made it clear that I wasn't backing off. And he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, no, mate. What are you going to do? You offered me out, so what are you going to do?" He didn't do anything, of course, because he was showing out to the crowd, And in the end, he walked away. Now, I'm no tough guy. I don't pretend to be a tough guy, and I am almost as old as John Fury. But clearly, this little punk had the old Napoleon complex, and he fancied himself as being a bit of a tough guy, which he clearly isn't. I get the impression that John Fury has the same mentality, although he himself is bigger, much bigger, because this guy was. If I'd have whacked this guy, which I certainly could have done, I mean, he was about 6 inches shorter than me. It would have looked bad on me, but he didn't put a hand on me, so I didn't do anything. But John Fury needs to learn. He needs to take a sort of, even though he's similar to this guy who was giving me a little bit of a problem. He needs to learn from the fact that he's much bigger than some of these people he's picking on. And unless I'm mistaken, he went to prison for picking on a guy who was smaller and actually gouging his eye out. It was something really trivial as well. I can't remember. Was it over a drink or something like that? Something really trivial. And he gouged the guy's eye out. And the guy was much, much smaller. Now, I'm going to guess, I don't know for certain, and say that John is on some sort of, long-term license of some sort, where he's, I don't know the details, where if he's a naughty boy, he goes back to prison. It's just as well he didn't do that in Britain. I mean, maybe he served his time and any license he was on is now expired. I don't know. But he needs to watch himself. But as you get older, like with me, with this little punk, you mature to the point where you think, this is fucking silly, you silly little boy, what are you doing? And the guy who was in my phase was like I say, he was about 40. So he should know better as well, but he's off his tits. He's sort of all too much ganja. He's a little black kid. He fancies himself as being a yardie. He's got a reputation around the area for picking on old ladies and all that sort of thing. John Fury apparently has now got a reputation for being a big, brash, blustering, bullshitting, flatulent bully. And I think that's I hate seeing someone of that age doing that sort of thing. I think it's horrible. Makes me embarrassed to be that sort of age group. But yeah, I'm just shooting the breeze here, and I'm just talking, letting a bit of freestyle at the moment. I'm just sort of letting things go through my head. But yeah, bully. John, you're a bully, mate. You are. You honestly are. And it's a shame because I hate seeing people like that. I quite like bullies. I do like fronting them out because although I'm no tough guy, I'm definitely not someone who rolls over. And I think the way this 30-year-old, this Stanislav, handled Fury, John Fury, was smacked of a little bit of that. He wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, I was worried about him. He had a cut on his head. I love that line. And what's his name? Spencer something. Fury's manager, Tyson Fury's manager. Well, it was just an incident and blah, blah, blah. Of course, he plays it down. No, mate. John Fury is a liability to your team. Yeah. But anyway, what do you think? Am I just chatting away here to myself, or do you have something to say? Do you have something that you want to agree with or disagree, or perhaps you make a point that I haven't made? Let me know. Give me your opinions below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, as always, because it takes a second and it helps us out, and I appreciate it. Further thoughts on Headbutt Gate. John Fury, just when you thought it was safe to go to a boxing press conference, along comes John Fury. And of course, Gareth A. Davies doing his... he might as well just be Team Fury's press officer. God, bloke's an embarrassment. He's as much of an embarrassment as John Fury. He's like the little lick spittle that hangs around, you know. He's like the kid, you know when you used to get the bullies at school. He was the kid who'd go with the bullies because, you know, he wanted to be, didn't want them bullying him, so he's going to, and, you know, he'd stand, during a snowball fight, he'd stand behind the pack and throw the snowball over the top so that it hit someone. Gareth A. Davies, what a bellend, man, what an absolute helmet of a man. But yeah, give me your opinions and I'll have a read and see what I think and reply. And yeah, hit the like button as well, if you don't mind. That'd help us out. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.